Works
Great.
good. Oh, dude, I didn't have to walk you through step by step how to figure this shit out, man. It's awesome. Good. I feel like it's like every other person I talk to is, or maybe it goes, maybe on average, I don't know, but uh, there's a bunch of people that don't know how to use Discord just in general, but then,
Uh,
or specifically, I guess, and then just in general, they don't know how to, like they've never hooked up any kind of peripheral to their like used input output kind of thing, like for gaming or we just
no
whatever.
way.
Yeah,
I
dude,
mean,
like the majority of people I've talked to,
really?
it's what's weird about it is, majority of airsofters are gamers, and they don't
Right.
and they don't know how to. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not putting them down. I just it's just surprising.
Yeah,
you know, it's funny. So anyway, I appreciate it, man.
of course. I'm glad this is working because the only
Yeah.
thing that I was kind of worried about is my internet.
Oh, well, it's really clear right now. So
Beautiful.
if it
Let's
goes
hope it
out,
stays like that.
yeah, if it lags like more than 3 or 4 seconds, then we'll just wait for it to catch up.
For sure.
Yeah. So the one guy in Netherlands, his internet was really really spotty. It was, I think we talked for almost 2 hours, hour and a half,
Okay.
and I think we had to stop 6 or 7 times because it lagged out so long. There was one time, I think it was like 20 seconds, and I was about to click off the call, and then it caught up. Like he was able to. So after it happened, like the second time, he's like, we just knew, okay, just wait, and then we just picked up where we left off, where we were talking. So I try to accommodate a lot of different people with their setup,
Right.
whatever. Yeah, like I don't. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't mind editing a little. It's cool. It's
Right.
not live. That's what I like about not doing it live. Like so many people ask me to do a live stream, and I'm like, no. I've done it 2 times, and one time was okay. The other time is, well, there's a couple things. One is the internet thing with the lag, if it messes up, or if they don't know how to set it up, and so we're taking 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The first 10 minutes, like, okay, click on the settings. All right, are you looking at the call? Did you like full screen it? What, I don't know what you're looking at. Click on the input, like microphone. So that going live is just bad with this kind of stuff when no one's, if that person hasn't been on here already.
Previously, right.
Right, right.
Which
So
makes sense. Total, complete sense.
the other thing was the other live one got shut off. We were doing YouTube live because he held up a gun. He held up his airsoft gun. So
No way.
yeah, dude. So anyway,
Interesting.
welcome, dude.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out and putting me on here. I feel honored. I've never done a podcast before. And, I've always thought about it. I just
Okay.
didn't have anywhere to go for a podcast. Then
Yeah.
I know you had Anthony on.
Yep.
I forgot when, a couple weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, he just texted me.
Did he?
Yeah, he just texted me about just NSL rule stuff
Oh yeah.
because we're practicing. We've been practicing for this NSL tournament coming up at the end of February, and we've just been trying to get these rules in our heads so like we minimize the amount of penalties that we
Yeah.
ever should like not get. But
Right.
this last tournament, I don't know if you watched the Shot Zone Indiana tournament. There
I
were
did.
so many penalties, administrative penalties, no calls, just like
Yeah.
technicals that people just weren't aware of, just from just not doing their research beforehand or not being able to practice beforehand.
Practice.
Which we
See,
just
that's the
want
thing.
to, not to do that.
Like running drills on it.
And that's what we've been doing
Yeah, because it's
since
like,
December now.
right. That's what he was saying when I talked to him. It's and you could really tell, like what you were talking about with watching it over the weekend. You could tell that a lot of people, they studied the rules but put it into practice. Like it was such a fast pace between rounds and between teams. You could like there was a I think more than once where one of the teams had an extra player like too many people on the field. Uh
Yes.
like
Or none at all, or none at all.
or none.
I remember
Like there
watching the very first day. It was day one, and it was Bloodline. I'm pretty sure against PBZ. PBZ were all lined up at the wall. It was like their second try. PBZ lined up at the wall, and then Bloodline was nowhere to be seen. And then when the round started, PBZ was just shooting at nothing.
yeah.
It just went to show that the awareness of just like situational like game awareness wasn't even there. They were just shooting at a whole bunch of nothing.
Mhm. Yeah,
You
it's
know,
fast paced, man. Like really quick. Like they're on the next round, like their timer goes and it starts.
you have to
Yeah.
be coordinated, and you have to be calm. You have to be collected the whole
Yeah.
time. You can't be heated. You can't be distracted. You can't be out in la la land the whole tournament. You have to be in the game 100% of the time, or you're just gonna fail and fail to be ready to get on the field in time for the game to start.
Mhm. Yeah, man. I wonder now have you guys played well, yeah, you guys have played SpeedQB
Right.
tournaments hosted by SpeedQB. Um
hmm
and then have you played the CSL ones as well?
We have not had any CSL experience.
Okay.
We CSL. I get what is this? The first year CSL is since last year. Well, a couple
Yeah.
years CSL has been in the game, but Tampa will be the it'll be the first event in Tampa
Oh, that's
since
right.
CIA's open. The Guava
Mhm.
major in August.
Okay.
But for
Yeah, cuz
my team,
he never
yeah,
hosted one down there. That's right.
yeah, no, because CIA's only been open for 9 months, going on 10 months now,
Right.
so we're very new.
Yeah.
And a little bit about myself is that before the whole CIA stuff, I was playing airsoft. I played airsoft for been playing for 10 years, 11 years now, and I started playing competitively in 2018. And just
Mhm.
for reference, I'm 21.
Yeah.
Just so in 2018, SpeedQB hit Atlanta for the first time. I'm from Georgia, so me and some boys at my home field, All Star Airsoft, closed now. It just closed. Lost the
Uh
lease in the building. Tragic. Formed a team, just a group of friends, for shits and giggles, and then we went up to SS for the very first time. Played a couple games. Next weekend was a tournament. Win the tournament, and it wasn't even a Speed QB field that you see now.
yeah.
The first tournament, like the first Speed QB tournament in Georgia on the East Coast, was literally like there was a tank in the middle, just a bunch of barrels everywhere, some houses on the left side, some boxes over here on the right side. It wasn't your traditional Speed QB field that you see now.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to play on. It was not a whole turnout. It was like 4 or 5 teams, but the team that I played for was Ned. And when we won our very first tournament, that kind of solidified, the team that we had. We were like, okay, let's keep doing this. Let's keep winning these events. Second event, they actually had a CQB field, well, SpeedQB field built on their CQB field,
Hmm.
and which looks like your traditional one today. We got
Gotcha.
third, and then after the third, we got another first, and we got another first, and then a first, and then they switched the format to round robin. It wasn't bracket style anymore, so you had your little group stages and whatnot. So they just kept doing just round robin tournaments
Yeah.
all the way up until like regional championship, which LTD, are you familiar with LTD Airsoft? So LTD
I've heard of them, yeah.
came and played at our regionals, and we played them, and we placed second behind them. And we were
Damn.
like, if we're gonna lose to any team, it would be LTD because we took that as a learning experience, and we had a
Wow.
lot of respect for them.
So that's okay, so you guys weren't messing around, bro. So you
No,
guys aren't like an amateur team. Like you were beating some pretty decent teams.
we had our rival team at SS because that's where it was all based out of SS Airsoft.
Mhm.
It was Psi Kappa Airsoft. that was like our sister team, like brotherly rivals. Like we were all friends with each other. We was always going back and forth, and that was always who we wanted to beat. We wanted to beat each other. We didn't care
Yeah.
about anybody else. And then it got into like some like sponsor drama, and then it kind of got like snakish. Some stuff happened here, some like drama stuff that I don't like,
Yeah.
and which kind of was hurting the community a little bit. And fast forward a few years later, I got we went to California. We went to California in 2018 to play in the Nationals.
Whoa.
Our first game, we beat this team, and it was great. Winning that first game in California in front of like hundreds of people was a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
And then the next game, we played like some really good teams. Like the skill gap between East Coast and West Coast individuals at that time was like
A
that.
lot.
It was
That's what I've
huge. It was
heard.
a big skill gap.
Yeah.
We weren't prepared. We were just playing, like kids, or like kind of our age. Our age group. We had my buddy's dad, so he was like the oldest, like 35, and then us, we were like 16, 17. Then we had like some 18-year-olds in here, and it's just a different style of play.
Yeah.
So we lost, and then we lost again. But we stayed, and we kind of learned and watched, the SYG LTD game, which I actually recorded on my DSLR, which I still
Nice.
have to this day. Very
Yeah.
good game. A lot of stuff to break down in that one. And I just love watching that game over and over again because there's so much to break down and so much that happened to when SYG won.
Mm.
And after that, another season went by. We acquired a bunch of sponsors, sponsored by Gateway, SS, Dye. Polar Star was our biggest one. We
Nice.
actually got sponsored by Polar Star.
That's cool.
We got some engines, some prototype regulators. I still run my engine to this day. Still have my
Nice.
regulator to this day. Very good. We went to California again. We had an okay season our next season. We had an okay season. We lost here and there. We can't win them all, right?
Right.
Because nobody's perfect. We went to Cali again, and we played this team called Legion from Europe.
Mm.
So the European
I've heard of
team
them, yeah.
came to and won for the 2019 championship. And the first round was called prematurely because they were cheating. Penalty. They stopped the game. Penalty. We were like, okay, they got a penalty in the first 30 seconds. Okay, we're cooling. Second game, penalty again. We're like, are we just finna get a freebie against Legion? Third game, they ended up eating. They, wiped us out and then, hung the flag. Third game, cheating. So 4 rounds, 3 of them were called prematurely to no calls, and they ended up winning the game. And we were like,
How?
We were very confused on that,
Yeah.
but we didn't let it bug us too much. And then the next game, we played against Official. They beat us by a very small margin, and we were like, okay, Hollywood. But Legion ended up getting disqualified from the tournament. They had so many no-call penalties on themselves that they got disqualified from the tournament.
Good.
It was insane.
Lord. Yeah, that's crazy that they would how they would even win. At all.
Exactly.
Like
That's just the flaw when Roy and them were developing the point system and how they were just trying to
gotcha.
get it down, and they were
Right.
still in this development, trying to try new stuff. It was all trying new things
Mm-hmm.
because they went from the 3-round format to a best 3 out of 4, best 2 out of 3 to best 3 out of 4,
Gotcha.
and then now it's just you play 3 games, no matter what, and then the points will accumulate out 3 games. The team with the
Throughout the
highest
whole-
amount of points wins.
Right.
Even if you get the max amount of points for the first 2 and the other team doesn't score at all, you're still going to play that third game. So then you have to choose how you play that as you wish.
Now with the points like that, with those things, do you carry those points with you
No.
after that tournament? Oh, okay. It
No.
stops at that.
So
tournament.
that's
okay.
at that round,
Okay.
well, that game,
Yeah.
So as soon as you pile up all those points, if you have all more points than the other team, you win that game. Then you just move on to the next one. 0-0.
Gotcha.
Stack them up. Stack them up.
Aren't they
Then
doing that
it's
now? I've heard of that. The carrying points over, like doesn't CSL or something, or an NSL does it, right? You carry the points throughout the whole season for NSL tournaments because
seeding
I
points.
heard.
You carry seeding points.
Oh, okay, that's
You get
different than your
seeding
game
points for the
points.
tournaments. Yes.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, you're gonna have your point differential for each teams, but as far as like win percentages, that's what you're looking for. How many games that you've won. You want to aim for that,
Okay,
100% win total to get the top seed, which is
right.
300 points. Then it goes 200, then 100, then like 50, 50, 25, 25, all the way down to 0 or 15 seeding points because there's 15 teams that play in an event.
Okay,
But 2020, after the California, this our second one, we decided to kind of like call it quits as a team. A lot of us had different stuff to do. I was graduating high school in 20. I graduated high school in 2020.
hmm,
So I was coming down here to Tampa to pursue marine science, which I'm currently doing now. Doing really well.
nice.
Third year in college, staying strong. Uh, my buddy Nate, he got married. Congratulations to him. My buddy Zion, he actually still plays. He plays for us now, but he lives in Georgia. He has
Oh
a
shit.
son that he loves very much. Cute kid. Um, and then Colin, he doesn't play with us anymore. He's pursuing professional real steel shooting, trained under Ben Stoger. He's a really good shooter.
Damn.
And Wes, he just lost, passion for the game because of all the, cheating and drama that went on, which,
Yeah.
Sad stuff. So then I pursued college, for 2 years down here. Well, in 2020, I played a couple like tournaments because I didn't want to, stop playing. Before coming down to Tampa, I played in a few tournaments, and some teams that picked me up were generous to pick me up. I won a 3v3 tournament up there at SS. I got a little golden toilet trophy. That signifies that I'm the shit.
Nice.
It was
Love it.
nice little toilet trophy.
Yeah.
And after that, there was a couple more tournaments. But the last tournament that I played up there, I got picked up by some random team. Don't remember their name. But it was a bunch of people that I've met over the years of playing up there.
Right.
So they're like, okay, you don't have a team, come play for us. So like, okay. So I come play. And we play the Psy Airsoft team, because they're still a team at this point. And one of their guys decides to run up on me after I shoot him. Like all of their guys start to rush us, and I'm in the back. Shoot one guy in the back, shoot another guy as he's running up to my left, and then I switch back to my right side. And I shoot this guy in his chest. He doesn't call it. I shoot him 3 times in the chest. His gun is down. He's running high cabo. His gun is
Yeah.
down. Shoot him 3 times. Then I switch back to the left side to see if anybody's coming. And then he just runs up and mag dumps my neck.
Holy
Point
shit.
blank. And then I'm just like, I'm screaming at him like, you're out, you're out, you're out. And he was wearing like a little chest rig. Like a little
Hmm.
thing where he carries his handgun mags up at the top. I mean, I guess he could not have felt it at that point. I mean, it was just, I aimed center mass.
Yeah.
But his gun was down, and I shot 3 times. You got to be, and all 3 hit. You got to be mindful of that. One, you
Like
may not have
hearing
felt
it
it or
or
heard it. Because
right.
sometimes you won't hear it nor feel it.
Mm.
I was a culprit of that a couple days ago with one of the jack. I was just messing around with one of my buddies, and he shot me up close, and I didn't feel it or hear it. It was weird.
Hmm.
And the refs kicked me off the field after that,
Oh shit.
and then I was banned from the establishment
Oh
because
shit.
I posted the video clip with a disclaimer that it wasn't like to bash the field or the staff or the owner. This was to show that crazy moment, the person that dumped me in my neck it was driven by something other than the game. It was like he hated me or something. Like,
Mm.
what did I do to you? I did nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
him and I used to be like friends.
Oh, I mean,
And
you guys have a history.
yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
this was no random stranger. This we had history. We've known each other for a little over a year at this point.
Yeah.
There was no malice nor hate, and
Oh,
he
that's
just did
weird.
that just out of like malicious intent. It felt like because he put 7 or 8 in my neck.
That's weird.
Yeah, no, I was like, whoa. And then no, like the ironic thing about that tournament was that when the people that saw that on the sidelines said that they were not going to play that team anymore. They weren't going to play
Mm.
Psy anymore that tournament. So then, the manager that was there was forced to ask them to leave. And then the manager, after explaining the situation, I was never swearing at anybody. I was never threatening anybody.
Right.
Like in the video, I never said a swear word. I was like not threatening or anything. I was just confused on why that just happened and why it was allowed to happen.
Right.
When we were given specific instructions not to overshoot at the beginning of the tournament, not to overshoot. Overshooting results in expulsion and, to call our hits. It was weird.
Huh.
It was weird to me. A lot of shady behind the scenes stuff went on behind that store, that facility.
Okay.
I'm kind of glad it all happened for a reason. And now I ended up at CIA.
Yeah.
The Anthony, the guy that you spoke to
Mm-hmm.
recently, he met me freshman year on campus. It was ironic.
Yeah.
He met me on campus. He has a YouTube channel
Nice.
of his own. He does airsoft YouTube and stuff. And I was wearing my Speaky backpack outside in class because my mom got it for me for Christmas, and I didn't have anywhere to play with it, so it's like it's expensive, so I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
So he hits me up through his freaking girlfriend. I'm just like, what? Because this girl is texting me. She's like, "Do you play airsoft?" I'm like, "What kind of fucking question is that?" This
Yeah, that's
woman is
random, right?
out of the blue. She no hey, no hi. Just do you play airsoft?
No,
Question
hey,
mark.
I'm,
No,
Anthony's
it was not
girlfriend.
like
He
that.
saw your backpack. Give it some backstory here, like nothing.
Nothing. So I was like, yeah, I
Holy
play. And she's
shit.
like, oh. And then after I was like, yeah, with like a question mark. She was like, okay, so my boyfriend, he plays too, and he saw your backpack, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, run me his information. She got his information. We talked here, there, blah, blah, blah. Then we met up for a little bit, chat, and then we just went about our business. And then, we kept touch base every now and then, but there was nothing going on. And this was in 2020.
Gotcha.
Fast forward 2 years later, I'd go back to Georgia and play at this field called Gold Eagle every once in a while with my boys in the
Okay.
mall. You heard of that location where it's like the airsoft field in the mall?
I have.
It's
Yeah.
like that. So Gold Eagle is that. So we played at Gold Eagle every now and then. The guys up there, manager up there, really cool guys. Really nice field. All wooded floors, polished wooded floors. Pretty cool. And yeah, Anthony finds me in the gym at like April in 2022, and he's like, "Yo, like, there's some big stuff happening in like this airsoft right now here in Tampa, and these people are building this warehouse, and they want to talk to you." And I was like, "Whoa!" It's like, okay. So like we arranged a date to meet. So I went up and met the owners. I met Mikey and I met Chris. Garrett, so there's 3 owners of CI if you didn't know. So Garrett was sick at the time. So I met Mikey. Cool, down to earth, has vision. All of them had vision. But I met Mikey first. And he showed me the warehouse. It was empty.
Yeah.
All they had was just the shop. The shop portion was built.
Gotcha.
But as soon as you left the shop, it was just empty warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's divided into 2 things. So you have one part of the warehouse and you have the back end of the warehouse. And then we just discussed, just what the vision was and what we wanted to do, and told him my background a little bit. Garrett actually knew me through Instagram. He said he'd been following my Instagram for over a year.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I was like, holy cow, like, it's a small world. because, and it just, in my head, after 2 years of not playing a game, thinking I was done for good because there was nowhere for me to play anymore,
Mm-hmm.
this airsoft field just sprouts up in Tampa where I'm at. In my head, it just clicked. Like I wasn't supposed to leave the game.
Yeah.
Like like this, the game was meant for me. If that makes any sense,
Sure.
and and to me it makes sense. I move away from it all, 6 hours away from it all, and then 2 years later it pops up right in my backyard.
Yeah.
CIA is 10 minutes down the road.
That's awesome.
I don't have to drive anywhere. You know, well, of course I have to drive, but you get it.
Short. Yeah.
And then the next couple months, just fast. It built fast. Mikey, and Garrett were busting their ass, and they made it happen. So from April 1st, like the end of March, to like to May 8th, is when they had their soft opening. So they got a majority of the stuff done to make some sort of a playable field by May 8th. In like a little over a month span.
Right.
And it was crazy. And it was good.
Yeah.
I have footage of the soft opening. There was one night where they had built the SpeedQB course. And it was all like plywood bunkers, and it looked good. And we just sat around there for hours and just playing SpeedQB. I mean, they had no experience in SpeedQB, unlike myself, who was a seasoned veteran coming up there, and it was, just a little field day I had. Pretty fun. Because some of them that played up there, they were invited by some guys, a team called TFM. They're no longer around. They disbanded. And they were like, who is this guy? Blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, okay, you finna find out who this guy is. It was nice. And, meeting a lot of people and establishing, some connections, some friendships. And the next thing you know, fast forward, we continue to grow. Mikey and Garrett and Chris had reached out to Roy at SpeedQB, I guess during this whole building process, hence why they built the SpeedQB field.
Yeah.
CIA stands for competitive indoor airsoft.
Right.
What is a competitive indoor airsoft field without a competitive indoor field? Like a competition field.
Right.
And Roy, I guess, agreed to host a SpeedQB tournament in Tampa for a grand opening of the store. And the grand opening was a success. We had a tournament. I forget when the grand opening was. No, the grand opening was like May 8th. I think May 8th was the grand opening. And somewhere in April was like the soft opening.
Yeah.
There were many sleepless nights for the guys up at CIA putting that stuff together. They were working. And, Chris, he's an old guy, but he's fit. I call him Plastic Ass Santa. He looks like Tim Allen from Santa Claus.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah. But he's ripped, he's healthy, and he was up there ripping like 3 bangs a day.
Damn.
Like having over a gram of caffeine intake. He was up 24, plus hours building that field out. And made it, laid the foundations of what it is today. And that tournament, was allowed to happen because he was able to build it that fast.
Yeah.
So the tournament went okay. Since nobody knew what they were doing as far as SpeedQB went, I asked some of my guys from Ned to come down and represent the company. I asked Zion, I asked Colin, and Colin brought down his Buddy Malin. No, I think. And Anthony played. Dang, I forgot one of the guys' names that Colin brought down. I think his name was Malin or something like that. But the guy that Colin brought down, he had no airsoft experience.
Yeah.
At all. He had never
None.
played a game in his
Holy
life.
shit.
And Anthony has been playing Milsim for however many years he's been playing Milsim.
Right.
And he's always outdoors, outside. So this environment was foreign to him. This competitive format was foreign. So you have 3 seasoned veterans, 2 people that had no idea what they were doing, and versus everybody else. So we run the tournament. We got second place.
Nice.
It was great, you know. I made some mistakes. Everybody made mistakes, but we had 3 guys that knew what they were doing and 2 guys that didn't, and we still got second place.
Yeah.
If that said anything about Florida's competitive scene. And it kind of laid the groundwork for the idea of building a local team out of our field. Since, 2 of my guys weren't local, they wanted to play the next SpeedQB season in Tampa. So I had it arranged to where they could, along with some of my, other people from up in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So me, Mikey, and Garrett came together, and we were like, let's make a team out of here, out of Tampa. Great idea. And include, my guys from Georgia, because they wanted to play one last season. So they allowed them to do that. I thank them for that. So we hosted a tryout. Anthony had to try out, and everybody else that showed up had to try out.
Yeah.
I was just there, playing with them just to see who I meshed with.
Mm-hmm.
And Mikey and Garrett were up top watching. Garrett was roughing. Mikey was up in the tower, up in the skybox. We have the office. In the office, we have this room that breaks off into the skybox thing, and it's plexiglass, and then you can look out and see the whole SpeedQB field.
Gotcha.
She was up there and, had a microphone, and he was talking to everybody, telling people to switch back and forth, back and forth. But prior, I kind of had, people that I was looking at before they even came to tryouts, because we've been playing with each other on our CQB field weeks prior.
Gotcha.
Tryouts happen. We drop 2 guys. We now have our SpeedQB team. It wasn't great, but it was something. And I devoted hours and hours and hours and hours on and off the field constructing drills, constructing lesson plans, and coaching and teaching the tryouts that we picked up how to play the game.
Yeah.
And my thought process was to see how good I am at teaching. How good I am at teaching people how to do something that I actually enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
We had our first full month of training, which was all of July and 3 weeks into August. So kind of almost 2 months of training. And our first SpeedQB qualifier was in August. Trained them all up. It was looking solid before the first tournament.
Yeah.
But I told everybody, we had a pre-tournament meeting that did a couple days prior on our allocated practice days. We were like, okay, you guys have learned a lot. You guys have showed me that you want to put in time, hard work, and you are dedicated to this sport from what you have showed me in these past, little over a month. I want you guys to focus on getting over the tournament jitters, if you have any, focus on clearing your head the whole time and have fun, right? Because you play the game and you're supposed to have fun while doing it. What
Yeah.
is a tournament? Why do a tournament if you're not going to have fun playing the tournament? The extra is winning. That's my mindset going in every tournament. The extra is always winning. You go in here to have fun. You show everybody what you're made of. If you don't win, you don't win. If you win, you win.
Yeah.
And if you don't win, you learn something, right?
For sure.
So my guys from Georgia came to play with me. We play. We wipe through everybody. First place. The guys that I've trained up, they get fourth. First tournament. Great for the first tournament.
Yeah.
Almost a podium finish first tournament. You know, they had some at the end, towards the end of the tournament, they realized they were getting a little bit antsy, a little bit nervous. I was like, okay, you can fix that. Second tournament, we both placed third and fourth place.
Oh shit. Okay.
So we're right here.
Yeah.
The first and second place was a different team. It was the same team as like LSA 1 and 2. So then we had CIA 1, which is our locals, and then 2.
Gotcha.
Championship. We've had so many more practices after the August event, leading up to September event, and after the September event, leading up to the championship in October. So we've had probably about 4 or 5 good months of practice at this point. Well, 3 to 4, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, 4 or 5 good months of practice. And these guys were looking promising, right? Dedicated. I got lucky. I like to say that I got lucky because you're going to have some people out in this game that aren't coachable at all and think
Sure.
they know everything.
Yep.
But these guys put everything to the side and were open to learning. They did just that. They had a rough beginning during group stage. Me and my Georgia boys, we had a flawless group stage, and we ended up getting knocked out first bracket prelim because we had a bye round, so we got the bye round. So everybody played one in prelims.
Yep.
And it was on like quarterfinals. We got knocked out. Bunch of drama during that game.
Oh shit.
Bunch of drama.
Jesus.
But during the group stage, a little backtrack because if it's not really important, but we played SYG.
Yeah.
In the group stage, we beat them.
Damn.
So we beat SYG. But the SYG that we beat wasn't like the SYG that's like that everybody knows and loves.
Gotcha.
It was like a couple of the guys that normally play for their main squad and then some like new tryouts.
Okay.
But SYG carries a big name.
Well,
it's a big name to beat.
Right.
So regardless, we still beat them, and it was a great morale booster because we had funneled in some of our subs to play against them to say that they get to play SYG. Because some of my Georgia boys, we've already played SYG before besides me. Everybody else played SYG besides me because when we did, I wasn't there. I was like fishing or something for a tournament. Beat them. Oh, wow, we beat SYG. Move on. We get knocked out. It's up to the guys that I've trained and coached for the past 5 months to win it. They beat the team that knocked us out, and that was another controversial game.
Oh, shit.
It was crazy. Like, they played like 8 rounds when you're only supposed to play like 3.
What?
This round.
Why'd they play so many?
That's what we're all still trying to figure out to this day. Like, penalty this, penalty that, penalty this, penalty that. Like, do you guys want to run it back? Do you guys not want to run it back? A lot of crying from the other team.
Oh, shit.
My guys are just like, let's just like keep going with this. Like, they were battle hardened. They kept a strong mental guard. They were able to push through all of these extra games that they were playing. All of the conditioning that they put in was paying off. The other team was getting tired and tired and tired. They beat that team. Move on to the semifinals, and then no, they move on to the semifinals. They beat that team that knocked us out. Finals, they played a team from Puerto Rico that had like a flawless day.
Damn.
They had like a flawless day. The team from Puerto Rico did, and then my guys beat them for the championship title.
Jeez.
First ever season.
Yeah.
First ever thing. Taught them everything they knew. They went out there and proved to me that they've just listened and learned and implemented everything that I told them to do. They did it perfect. Well, not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Well, they did it and won it.
Yeah.
Won the belt. Very first Speak season. I don't know a team that can say that. And that fueled us.
Wild.
It's like a catalyst to keep going. So we're going to use this as a catalyst to propel ourselves into this season. We're going to be playing NSL. We're going to be playing SpeakUB. And we're going to be playing CSL.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be doing all these things within the season. We're going to be traveling. We've gotten a lot of sponsors since then. Now that we have some sort of a name, if you will, we've created a name for ourselves by winning that title. That title's big. Because there's only 5 of them per season, per region.
Gotcha.
So 1 per region, 5 per season. Rhode Island, Atlanta, Tampa, Sacramento, no, Indiana, and then
Shot Zone.
No, HTK, not Shot Zone, HTK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the one in Indiana that they hosted it at, and then there was one more. I think it was like in Arizona or
that's
something.
That's the SpeedQB tournament you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Where they're at? Okay, yeah.
And then winning that, we got like a SpeakUB and Ace Tech like partnership to where they're sending us like a whole thing of Tracer BBs for free.
Nice.
It was great. Like a shitload of them too.
Now this tournament where these guys had to play 8 rounds or whatever, like, so is that a common thing where if you get penalties or something in a tournament, they'll just say, "Oh, scratch that, start over," and then replay the round?
This was beyond us. This was never.
So who's in
charge
when that stuff goes on? Who is there anyone that's like, who decides that? The ref on the field?
The tournament director, Roy, the owner of SpeakUB. He was the head ref, and he's the tournament director, so he's there and he's making sure the tournament is going good.
So obviously he knows what's going on. He knows the rules. He knows.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So it wasn't like a new ref.
It was a long day.
Okay.
We were way off schedule.
Oh,
the whole tournament was way off schedule.
Gotcha.
More games were played than what they needed to during group stage. Like every platy played like 2 or 3 more games than what they needed to play. So we had to go back and scratch all that stuff. He was really stressed out about that.
Oh yeah.
And then he just didn't want to, like, I don't know what his thought process was behind it, and I just don't even want to speak for him because I love Roy. He does so much for me and my team.
Yeah.
I've known Roy for a very long time, since we met him back in California in 2018.
That's not common though. So that's okay. So that's
that was
really
the first
kind
time
of
I've ever heard of it.
extenuating circumstance or whatever. It was just fluke. Okay.
It was a fluke.
Yeah.
And I gave a little speech at the end. I was like, this tournament was like full of hardships, and you got to persevere through these hardships in order to to do good, and you can't fall apart during times of hardship.
Right.
There's this one quote that I like. This little video of this guy. He was like, "Tough times never last. Only tough people last."
That's right.
And it's like that. And it's kind of like the mentality that I like to instill in all of, my guys that play for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's a hard mentality to beat. You're going to, no matter what, and anything you do, there's going to be tough times. And you just got to...
when you did tryouts the first time, you said you kept 2 and the other guys...
no, we dropped 2.
Oh, you dropped
2. And then everybody else... Because it was like... it was like 12, 11 or 12 people that were trying out.
Damn.
We dropped 2 of them. We knew majority of the guys that were trying out.
Right.
Remember that TFM team that I mentioned earlier?
Yeah, yeah.
Some of their guys were trying out for our team.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, there was a bunch of drama going on with that team.
Sure.
A few of their members didn't want to be a part of it, dropped
Mhm.
from the team, and they saw they wanted to be a part of what we had going on.
Yeah.
Came in there, all very malleable people. I
Mhm.
saw from the get. Some of them, one of our guys, one of our pickups was Logan. He had a paintball background. I played
Oh, okay.
CQB with him. He's a very solid player.
Yeah.
He's 6'4", 6'5". He can stand on his tiptoes and just look over the barriers. So he's got an advantage when it comes to just staying in the back, he plays snake corner. So he's up over the corner just looking around and calling out guys. He
Yeah.
doesn't even have to expose himself in a normal way that everybody else has to.
Right.
So he has an advantage there. We picked up Shane, we picked up Steve, then Logan, then Anthony, and then we picked up who else did we pick up? Dom. Picked
So that's a
up
pretty good tryout then if you got that many people right up front.
right.
Mhm.
Because it was new, and we had some people that wanted to try it because it was new, and we had some
Yeah.
people that had watched this stuff online and wanted to partake in it.
Gotcha.
So
Well,
we
that
laid
team
out.
stuff too is really common. A lot of people I've talked with for the indoor stuff,
Mm-hmm.
the CQB and SpeedQB stuff, or anyone that any team that plays tournaments, it's really common what I've heard. They're that they leave teams to join another team, or a team breaks up or whatever. I mean, it's, I can imagine those, a lot of the teams are started by younger players. I mean, they don't have a lot of experience in coaching, right? Like when you start a team, you're kind of taking on a coaching role. And if you don't have the maturity and when you deal with human beings and all these different personality types and different levels of expectation, maybe, or commitment, like
Mm-hmm.
how committed are these players? Like how bad do they want to play on a team, and how far do they want to go? What's their level of hey, I want to travel, I want to win these tournaments, I'm very competitive, that kind of thing. You're not going to get a whole lot of people that, or you're not going to have a whole lot of success 100% where everyone is like that. Like
Exactly.
there's different levels of commitment. They're like, man, I've got, like you said earlier, some of your friends, like they've got, they got married, they have a kid, they had, life happens, this happens, whatever. And it kind of just, this was a hobby for them, not really a sport, and I think
Right.
yeah, but yes, those team things, what you're talking about, that's really common. The podcast that came out this morning, the guy I talked to, Disturbing the Peace. He's
DTP.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
DTP. Frosty.
I know John.
One of their guys, who is a prospect right now, Hudson.
Hudson.
He's
I know
yeah,
Hudson.
yeah. He was telling the same kind of story. He was on a team. He didn't really like. It was a bunch of drama. He wanted to come over, but John was like, "Hey, man, you got to quit that team first because I don't want them to get pissed that I'm trying to, gank you from the team. Just pull
Right.
you away from the team, whatever." So, yeah, it's I can imagine there's that kind of drama can come up very quickly and easily with different people, teams starting in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And like I said before, like with that team that we picked up, there's some other names that I just didn't list. Like Sparky was one of them. He also had a paintball background. We played in a 2v2 tournament together. Before the Speaky thing, I had ideas of who we wanted to pick up and who wanted to do this for real.
yeah,
But for the rest of the guys, it was a shot in the dark, and I got really lucky. Now we have, even what we instilled team dues, hefty dues, $500 for our team dues.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody paid them. Everybody was committed to their craft, and they take this very seriously.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to. I can't take all the credit for dealing with not even dealing with just training these guys, because I've had help from Mikey. Mikey helped me a lot when I'm stressed out, because it's rough. Garrett helped me out when I'm stressed out. Chris helps me out when I'm stressed out, but it's mostly Mikey and Garrett, because they were the ones that were helping me start this whole thing in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was the co-captain, Mikey's the coach, Garrett was the captain. But it got to the point in their business, since it's their business,
Right.
that they were so caught up in their business. And it's not like they didn't want to be a part of this speed team, which they were.
Yeah.
But they couldn't be fully committed to where they wanted to play at first, and they couldn't, because they have to deal with the company, they have to run the store, they have to run the business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's but this season, they promoted me to the captain, and I still go and tell everything to Mikey and Garrett, of course, and then Anthony is now appointed like my co-captain or my coaching assistant, just as my second pair of eyes, just to see what's going on. Because the hardest thing when I'm coaching and wanting to become a better player myself is to actually find that time of like focusing on myself and not everybody else.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the coaching role. Like when you first started, how you adapted and how you liked it. It sounds like it came pretty natural to you. Like you fell into that role pretty good. You definitely had the knowledge of to pass on because you had played for so long. But yeah, that's what you just said. Like trying to find time for yourself to work on yourself, right? To practice and to get better and to keep up is that's very common as well. Taco's baby goat, right?
Right, Adam.
Adam, I just had a podcast with him. I think that came out a couple days. Yeah, it came out last Wednesday before the tournament. Well, when he took over Monk America and started setting all this up for NSL over here, it was that's one of his biggest obstacles. He said was, I still love playing and I still want to play. I just don't have as much time to play now because I'm running the business side and bringing all these terms. Yeah, and it's like, and he's a coach, he's like, he's appointing people to this and that and setting everything up and making sure the team's good, but he still wants to play. He said that was the hardest thing. It still is one of the hardest things for him to do. And that's got to be that's a really common thing when players, no matter what sport it is, have to take a step back a little bit of playing because they take a leadership role. That's probably the biggest challenge is, damn it, man, I want to go out there and play.
But I've made it to where they're playing with me.
Yeah.
We're all playing together as, a unit, and everybody is assigned a job. In the drills that I construct, I'm not just sitting there telling everybody, go do this, go do that. My method of teaching is I like to demonstrate. And I take those demonstrations as my drilling. And of course, I'll run repetitions with the rest of the guys. But when I demonstrate first, that's when I really is like, okay, this is what I expect that should happen here. I'm showing them how to do it, and I just tell them to watch how I do it. And I explain every little movement that I'm doing, why I'm doing it, why I'm aiming here and not there, why my gun's lined up here and it's not over here. And it's been working. And that's kind of how I play during practice, because as far as other life things and me not being able to play as much as I want to, is that I actually work at the field. I've been
Okay.
working at CIA since it opened as a ref. I'm the head
Gotcha.
referee there. You know, my passion for the game has allowed me to be a really respected ref in my eyes. A lot of people just, I'm a good person up there. I care about everybody. I want everybody to have the best games possible. I'm not just be like, okay, teams, this, and that. Let's just go to the sides and just hope for the
I've been hearing
best.
that
Like,
that's pretty common
it is,
to
and
have
it's
refs on the field like that. Like what? Why are you doing that? Why are
it
you a
was like
ref
that
if
at
you're going to be
NSL. What I've
boring?
heard, I was in this live stream last night. Ta Caber, that's
Oh
his
yeah, Caber.
Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah.
Caber. I was in his live stream last night, and a lot of
Okay.
people that attended the event in Shot Zone were saying that they were understaffed for refs, and
Oh.
that the refs that they did have, apart from the European guys, weren't involved in the game at all. They were just standing there with their heads in the clouds or their heads staring to the ground,
Huh.
and just like, and sometimes there are points where there were no refs on the field when the game was supposed to be going,
Oh shit.
and it's a part of like Caber was saying last night is there's no incentive for people to ref. Everybody wants to get out there and play, and there's no incentive for people to ref.
Right.
And there's just apparently this thing in the industry where refs are just severely underpaid as far as tournaments go. Because
Mm.
refs end up being like volunteers and stuff. And that's kind of
Right.
how we had to do it at CIA. We'd had to get volunteer refs where we'd give them incentive by giving them like free passes if they wanted to, if they helped ref for us, or they,
Mm-hmm.
paid them under the table, however the hourly wage, whatever it was we worked. And for me, like sometimes I'll be scheduled for a day that's on practice. I mean, obviously, I work up until the practice point, but I don't get off for another couple hours. And then there's no ref, so we're short staffed. This is and that. Some of that's my fault for not scheduling off beforehand.
Mm.
Sometimes, it's not Mikey's job to keep up with my life and what I'm doing. So I have
Yeah.
to, do that better. But it's the same. We don't have a lot of refs.
Yeah.
We have some people at our field that like to volunteer. And as far as refing goes, it was a problem at SS. Their tournaments, none of the refs care to be there. Every time I talk to a ref, I just want to go home, bro. It's my 15th hour here.
Holy
Like, and I'm
shit,
just like, holy hell, man.
bro.
It sucks.
Well, the problem, I'm going to tell you the problem. The problem is in this sport, there's no spectators that pay to spectate. So
Right.
every other sport, even high school football, you know, all three of we have three, my wife and I have three boys, two girls. All three of my boys played football.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my two girls were in dance. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even dance competitions at
You have to go and pay to
12,
watch.
13 years old, everyone pays to watch because they have to pay the venue that they're having it at, or whatever, pay the coaches or the teachers or the whatever. Like the high school football, you've got the ticket sales, you've got the concessions, you've got apparel, swag, whatever, like all that shit. But the spectators pay a big portion of what goes on there. Airsoft, there's no spectators. Like if there are spectators, they're not paying to watch the game. They're
They
not
aren't.
buying you know what I mean?
And I feel like that is a good idea, which I'm probably going to relay to Chris within the next, this weekend when I go up there to work. Because that is a really good idea to just bring in a little bit extra revenue.
Yeah,
Those like it should be like a small fee,
right.
like a high school football game. I remember paying like, you know, for the smaller games it was like $10, and the bigger games was like $20, just to go watch.
Yeah.
And our field admissions is just around that price, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you're paying to play. I mean, granted, our viewing area isn't the greatest. You're susceptible to being shot if you're trying to view
Oh
our
shit.
our tournaments. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a designated spectator area, which we're planning on building
Hmm.
in the future.
Yeah.
But on the field, you walk out, you're on the CQB field, And then as soon as you see the CQB field, the SpeedQB field is right to your right, and that's where the plexiglass is lined up hockey style. So
Yeah.
it's like hockey style plexiglass viewing area. And if you want to watch, you have to stand out on the CQB field where active games are going on.
Oh shit.
So you can't just go and watch with like no mask or glasses. You have to wear
Oh,
full face.
okay, okay.
I know.
So I guess that's fairly common, and I think because from what I've been finding out, a lot of indoor fields they're not they're the field owner is focused on setting up the field for the best game possible for the players. No one's really thought of, or I guess talked about, like spectator stuff. Not that I'm had the first idea. I know it's been an issue, right? Or it's been talked about. I'm sure it just because people go there, the parents go there. This like Hudson. When I was talking to Hudson, he said his dad has to drive him 2 hours. It's 2 hours one way, almost 2 hours one way to
Hmm.
the fields. Well, I'm a dad. Okay, I had to drive my kids to football practice and shit, here and there. Now, luckily, we live really close to the field or to the school. But I'm imagining if I had to run my kid on Saturday morning, 2 hours somewhere, a 2 hour drive, bro, I'm not coming back until
Hell
he's
no.
done. Okay,
Exactly, and that's what he does. He doesn't. He sits in our lobby. His father sits
right.
in our lobby
And I've
until he's
seen this
done playing.
before. We went to now I don't have a experience with airsoft, just spectating basically for the last 3.5 years. So, but I did go to one indoor field with these guys, and it was the same type of thing. The whole field was the field. Once you walk through those safety door, out of the safety area, and then anyone and there was a handful of parents that came there that dropped their kids off. They didn't want to drive home, so they sat in their car, and it was kind of cold. I think it was cold out when we went, and so they sat in their car because the safety area or the staging area, whatever, was really small, and there's really nowhere to sit. It's not set up for somebody hanging out there, waiting. So they would sit in their car, and I'm going like, man, why don't they like have something set up for parents that have to stay there? Like, I guarantee you, a parent would like to go in and watch their kid play, at least some of them, and be willing to pay $5 to sit there and watch them play. They got to sit there anyway for 2 hours,
Hmm.
for however long they're playing. Uh, oh yeah, you want something to drink? Here, you can buy a coffee for $1. And you know what I mean? Just like they do in football games, hot chocolate, whatever. Um, it just, but all the other sports, spectators pick up the tab for a lot of, these issues or these things that pay for staff. And I feel like what I'm hearing, a common thing I've heard is the refs are all volunteers. Most of them, they're volunteers.
Majority of them
Or
are.
like, oh, okay, you can come here and play for free, whatever. But when, like you said, sometimes they don't even get to do that because they're short. And hey, the one guy couldn't come in to ref. Can you ref? Like, oh yeah, okay, I'll ref. Well, I was going to play for free today, but yeah, I'll ref. Like there's really not an incentive for people to have be a good ref out there.
And for me, it's all fueled out of passion and wanting to grow
Right.
the sport. And it's not my first time refing at all. Back at All Star, I used to be a ref over there for a short period of time, and then I got fired for literally no reason.
Jesus, bro, you
Yeah,
suck.
no, it was funny because Colin, the guy that I used to play on Ned with, he was my coworker,
Yeah.
and he'd be like up in the ref tower just dicking around on his phone the whole time.
Right.
When it was my turn to go up there, I'd actually like pay attention, like make sure everybody's doing the right thing, and actually cared. When this kid didn't care at all. Then one day I received a phone call. I was like, "Yeah, we just got to lay you off," and I was like, "Yeah, that's a load of shit."
Okay.
But now, like, I take a lot of the game modes that we used to play back at All Star, and I instill them at our facility. I have a method for picking out teams and balancing them the best that I can by
Yeah.
dividing the experienced players and the inexperienced players and kind of dividing the experienced players on both sides so the amount of experienced players matches the amount of inexperienced players. And
Nice.
sometimes that isn't even enough. Then I just like, okay, that's just their problem. It's not even mine anymore.
Right.
They're just not the greatest, or they lied saying how experienced they were.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it's the latter, bro, because
Yeah.
most people aren't going to be like, "Oh, I'm brand new. I'm a fucking noob." Okay, like they don't know. They're
Most
not
of
going
our
to say
rentals
that.
are exactly like that. They're just like, yeah, I'm brand new, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, that is completely fine.
Yeah.
And there was one day we had these two little kids. They're like my favorite kids that come into the facility now. It was this one of the older kids. I'm probably like 13 or like less than that, and his little nephew. They're young, and short too. And they were the second time playing airsoft, and they had rentals and a mask,
Yeah.
rental mask and gear. And I was like, okay, like you two get separated, or you can stay together since it's you and your little nephew. And they ended up running around the people that were actually experienced in the game, and I'm just like,
Oh shit.
I'm sitting there, I'm hype, I'm in the ref tower jumping up and down. I'm like, okay, let's go, let's go.
Nice.
And then I ended up throwing them on the speed field,
Yeah.
and I gave them some NSL plays that we've been doing. I was like,
Oh,
okay, you guys
nice.
want to do this? You like this? So here's what you need to do. Told the nephew to do this. Told the other kid to do that. Bro, they was doing numbers on the speed field,
Really?
running around. There's one of the kids ran all the way around this one guy and like point blanked him in his back. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh! Like I'm sitting there just jumping up and down, just like out of pure excitement,
Yeah.
hyping him up, just making him feel good that he, was doing that at this, at this skill level. He's brand new to the stuff, brand new to the
Right.
game, and he's the natural. And I'm just like,
Oh,
oh my
that's cool.
gosh. So he's trying to instill like this thing in his back of his head subconsciously that he's like, I want to come back. I want to do more stuff like this. And
Hmm.
eventually he did come back. He did come back. He did play some more advanced individuals. Like he come up to me, he goes, dude, I'm getting shot up a lot more this time. I was like, that will happen. You're playing some better people this time.
Right.
You got to keep pushing through it and figuring out how not to get shot all the time.
Yeah,
And he
you
did.
can't use the same strategy that you used
Exactly.
last time because, you're playing different people. So,
Exactly.
well, you know what I thought was cool is, I'm talking to Hudson, he's 13 and
Hmm.
he seems really mature for 13, like the way he was talking about it.
He
He
has matured
bro,
from when we
he's like
first met him.
he's like talking long term. He's like, by the time I want to keep playing, right now, he said, right now I'm just practicing. I'm trying my hardest. But for me, it's just practice because I'm young. I'm going to get better. By the time I'm
Hmm.
like 18 or 19 or whatever, I'm going to be, this good. And like, I was like, okay, wow. That's
Right.
pretty wild, man. 13-year-olds don't typically talk 5 years from now. You know what I'm talking about?
That is true.
Yeah.
And I respect Hudson a lot for actually showing that kind of level of maturity because when we first met him, it was your typical young kid, no filter, all that stuff. But that's good things that I'm hearing from him, and it's
Yeah.
showing me, from when I met him months and months ago, that he's actually growing up way faster mentally than majority. But as far as on the topic of, 13-year-old airsoft players, we have one on our team that ended up that I trained,
Yeah.
and he was the one on the team that won the regional championship.
Oh
His
shit.
name is
Okay.
Mason. He's a pistol player.
Yeah.
He's he's growing fast now. Like holy cow. He's reaching. He's getting a little. He's sprouting up a little bit.
Yeah.
But he is short and he's fast and he's agile. Very athletic kid.
Right.
Same maturity. Thinking long term. Loves the sport. And I view the kid as a little brother to me. Having that little brother figure.
Right.
I'm a little bit harder on him than anybody else because I want to see him grow the most.
Right. Well, he's willing to take it and learn.
He is.
Right.
some of our guys are a little bit harsh on him, and I have to yell at them. You're like, no, stop. That's not your job. That's my job. Because he's a 13-year-old at the end of the day, and sometimes he's playing with our oldest guy on our team is 50.
Yeah.
Steve is a badass 50-year-old. He is athletic, in shape, and he's got his own little mojo going on. We give him a back brace because he's 50, and he needs it sometimes. But at the end of the day, he's 50 years old,
Yeah, no shit,
killing
right?
the game.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That's cool.
He's got that passion, and
Well, yeah,
our team is full of different age groups, and just
that's
to
what's
see.
kind of cool. Like, yeah, this is the only sport. Now, I'm not saying this. This isn't my idea. I've heard this from people I've talked with, but it's the only sport where all these different age groups play together on the field, right? They all play together, whether it's competitive, tournament stuff like serious, or just whatever open play, just have fun kind of stuff, or birthday party games or whatever. It's like somebody has a birthday party at the field. Okay, there's 6 of them that show up. Well, they're not playing just together. Sometimes they will, but they're playing in the mix with a bunch of other people, sometimes to, if it's a good, a mix up that day. And so you might be, 13 and 14-year-olds will be playing with 25-year-olds. Very, very common. And so it's the only sport that happens in, where you play competitive and you're playing, 17-year-old like Cujo. I talked to him. I had him on a podcast a while ago. He's seems pretty. I've seen his videos. He seems pretty badass. Other people I've talked with said he's very good, and he's playing against he's been playing for a while. He's playing against guys in 40s, 50s, whatever. It's just a huge mix, and what's cool too is like the coaching thing. So you're officially kind of coaching, right, and helping people funnel them into that competitive play or whatever.
Right.
But this community seems like a lot of people take that role. The 25-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, they kind of help the new player a little bit. Just a little, like, hey, I'll help you out. Your gun broke. Here, here you can do this. Here you can use that. Kind of give them tips here and there. Not really coaching, but they're
Right.
that mentality of, hey, I'm going to help you out until you get on your feet, kind of thing.
Right. And that mentality works for some, and for me, my vision with like the whole team was like I wanted to breed like leaders in my group.
Yeah.
For growth. I want to be able to teach this material and this knowledge, give it to these guys, and have them preach it to other people.
Gotcha.
Because that's how you grow this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is you give the information to somebody and they pass it on, and then that person passes it on, pass it on, pass it on, pass it on. And in the state of Florida, the sport is just started. We had our first season last year in Tampa. Yeah. Florida SpeedQB, Florida competitive airsoft in general, it did not exist.
Really?
The only thing we had down here was Milsim. That's it.
I
the
know
state
a bunch
of Florida
teams
is known for paintball, competitive paintball, orbital paintball, Tiki's paintball, Clearwater paintball. A lot of these paintball places out here. We don't have indoor airsoft. We have competitive indoor airsoft Tampa.
Okay.
We have Battalion Airsoft Arena. Now we have Legion Airsoft Academy. And then we have this other field on West Palm Beach. I forgot the name of the field. But as far as, competitions and like big competitions, your local competition, I'm not counting this. Like, it did not happen until we popped up on the map and made it happen.
That's so wild. I guess I'm
exactly
because I've talked to so many people and met so many people from Florida. Tonka. Like these are all Milsimmers though. These are all Milsimmers. My boys, my 2 sons that started playing, their friend, they they like mil sims. They like the
Hmm.
full on, 3 day mil sims and shit. Like
Right.
Third Coast Airsoft, and up here at GTI or down here at GTI, and so they've gone to a bunch of mil sims, and I've gone to a couple of them with them. But the guys I've talked to in Florida and met, they're all mil simmers. And so I guess I never really. I just assumed because the state is so big, and I've already followed a bunch of people from Florida, that
Hmm.
the speed soft teams or whatever were kind of prevalent down there. Yeah, I had no clue that
Not
this
at
was.
all.
That's so wild, bro. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah,
I mean, and that's
that's why you were
why
saying
I really
earlier
want to
when
grow
it
this.
popped up close to you, you were like, "Holy crap, this is a sign almost."
Right.
Okay.
Because it was brand new
Hmm.
to the
Okay.
state of Florida. Unheard of.
That's
Competitive
wild.
airsoft was down
Yeah.
here. I believe that Battalion was around for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and Battalion they had their fair share of Speedsoft tournaments, and their
Hmm.
home team there is LSA, which now drives over to us to play at our events and to play in our field because our field is way better than theirs. And apparently, the owner does not advocate for any of this stuff.
Mm.
Like Roy and the SYG guys have offered to come and play at Battalion before,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Fuck no, we don't want you here." Type
Is
shit.
it
And I was
a
like, "Whoa,
is it an old school paintball field? I wonder.
Battalion?
Was it? Yeah. Was it a paintball field before?
I've never played, and I don't
Oh.
know. It's
Okay.
all an indoor facility. It's a giant warehouse.
Hmm.
I think it's a Battalion Airsoft Arena. So I guess it was never a paintball place to begin with.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
I think it's
It's
always
just weird.
Airsoft
It's weird that
in
a field
Jacksonville.
owner wouldn't be open to, hey, how about growing your business? Like, what? What are
I
you
don't
doing?
know,
That's so
man.
weird.
Some people are just different,
Well,
and
you know what's crazy is now that I'm realizing the scope of like like what the magnitude, I guess, of what's going on with the CIA. So it opened up not even a year ago.
nope.
Okay, you've already had a Speed QB or yeah, an actual Speed QB tournament there
And we had a whole Speak
and
QB season,
season
whole
and
season,
now NSL,
and CSL.
bro. That's insane.
We're trying to make moves out here, and we're trying the best we can to get all the most media coverage that we can.
Right?
We're trying. I made it like one of my New Year's resolutions this year was to become like some sort of make a name for myself in this
Yeah.
sport. And to do that, I have to make content and I have to post stuff and get it out there.
Sure.
And the one way that I want to do that and what's on, my to-do list in the next couple weeks is to start this movement in the state of Florida that could probably hopefully grow all the way up the East Coast and,
Right.
Midwest all the way to the West Coast to where we can all unite as one,
Uh huh.
is to where we can grow this competitive scene so it's available everywhere.
Yeah.
So because it came to my mind when I hosted like kind of like a low key C tier event for NSL at our facility. We've advertised it a month in advance. Last month, beginning of January, we were like, hey, we are going to host an NSL scrimmage day
Mm.
at our field this
That's cool.
time. Here's the date. Here's the price if you want to sign up for teams. Solo entry is the same as regular entry. Just show up. It's going to be a fun day. We're going to learn together. We're going to teach some stuff. Come out and just have fun and show yourself. 2 teams showed up. It was my team. We
Yeah.
have 12. We had 11 guys. We have 12 guys total, but 11 of our guys were able to come. And then there was just 2 other teams. But we still made it work. And one of the teams was SPD, and the other team was a brand new team called HBA. If you say it fast, it sounds like HPA, but it's
Oh, gotcha.
H, B is in Bravo, A. It's an
Right.
alpha. So, brand new teams, new to the NSL format. So, my guys taught them the format, and we played NSL style games. And it was fun. But it got to the point where we have practiced all this time for NSL since, we had like a couple week break during the holidays because we were all gone. Well, I was gone. Some other people were doing vacation stuff with their family and holidays, New Year's Day. So one of the practices, New Year's practice, wasn't mandatory. So we've been practicing ever since the season ended. After the weekend after we won the belt, we started practice again, but we started practicing for NSL this time. Switched the gears, made everybody read the rules. So now we practice up to this point to where we can teach the rules to these new people. And I want to get it to where we have these kinds of events once a month at our facility, to where it's just pickup games for people with a competitive mindset that want to come in here, want to train, want to do all that stuff, want to work in their craft, and there's no repercussions for trying new things.
Right.
That's how you get better. You try stuff. If they don't work, they don't work. You don't do them anymore. If you find stuff that works, you got to keep doing stuff that works. And then you just repeat the process.
Right.
And it's all a part of this movement that I want to start, and I haven't come up with a name for it yet. And I'm just gonna just start posting YouTube videos, posting Instagram videos to start the growth process.
Yeah.
Start small. Gotta start somewhere, and you gotta get big. You begin unknown, you finish unforgettable.
For sure.
That's kind of what I want to do for that, and
That sounds cool, man. Yeah, I mean that's well, the thing is, this is the right time to do it. So no matter who I've talked with, no matter where they're at, and I've talked to people literally around the world, and from mill simmers to outdoor players to Speedsoft, players. It is everyone I've talked with. This sport has grown a ton in the last 2 years. Coming out of lockdowns, and I mean, people watching all those videos. A lot of the YouTubers were,
Yep.
Kicking Mustang had the. He was just on our monthly podcast that came out yesterday, and I said, Do you have the most subs for Airsoft?" He's like, No. I had the most views. I was like, oh, okay. He had a 500 million views last year on his channel. So 500 million views on his channel, on Kicking Mustang's channel. Now he's only got only got 2 million subs.
Only.
Yeah, only. But I say that because Navrich and Silo, I think, have some more subs, but he had the most views, and I was like, oh, okay. But he made this. He was like, he told a statistic. It was like 1/8 of the male population on planet Earth watched his videos last year. Is what the numbers worked out to be. So a lot of these guys during lockdown, they're like, okay, we can go out, we can do stuff now. Things are open. What am I doing?
Right.
Dude, did you watch this Airsoft video? Like, what's Airsoft? Bro, come here. Let me,
Check it out.
And
Check it out. Right.
This is the right time to do whatever you're doing, what you're talking about with this coaching stuff and this spreading the word and posting this stuff. And you're in the right place, apparently in the perfect place right now, with a field that grows that fast, that's having it's hosting these kind of tournaments and stuff. And when I watched the some of the tournament, NSL tournament over the weekend, I was really excited, man, because and I know it's the first one over here. I'm sure there's going to be some, it's a learning curve, but I was really excited because I'm going, man, this is exactly what I've been asking about. Like 6 months ago, I'm asking some of these Speedsofters, like, do you guys have a national tournament where all these different teams can go, and who's the best? Like, what is the ranking system? And they're like, kind of, not really. Like, we have West Coast stuff and with East Coast
stuff,
like
right.
Regional.
There's a division.
Yeah, it's a division, and the common thing is, or the common issue that I'm hearing is, the sport doesn't make enough money to pay for players to travel from state to state to play tournaments.
Right.
Okay, everyone's got to foot their own bill. Well, you've got
Exactly.
a lot of most teams are made up. Speedsoft teams are made up of 17 to maybe even younger
Young
to
kids.
25-year-olds who are just out of college, or they're, you know what I'm saying, like they're not really established financially, and they're still trying to get, get on their feet that way, and get some stuff built up, and of course building your own airsoft shit is not
Ridiculous
cheap. Yeah.
price. No.
Yeah, bro. I'm like, when people are telling me this stuff, these Milsim guys are like, yeah, I got a Umbrella Armory gun. It was $2,000, and I'm going, what? So there's so you're dropping money on that. There's no spectators to support. They're paying for watching the game, for concessions, for apparel, for all this kind of stuff. Like, the only money coming from, or sponsorships or whatever, is like companies like HK Army,
Mm-hmm.
who sponsor, big sponsor for NSL.
Cell sponsor.
Um, yeah, dude, like
It's
some of
also
these
one of our
companies
sponsors,
that,
by the way.
is it? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got, what do you get? What do you have? Like, who could be a sponsor? I mean, anyone can be, but who could really put some money in? Like, some of the big retailers could, right?
Yes.
E-Bike, Airsoft GI. I don't think that they're in it yet. I haven't seen any of their names on the SpeedQB stuff or Speedsoft stuff. So, and I feel like, there's companies out there that could probably get their name out there
Right.
with helping this stuff. But yeah, it's definitely lacking in that area right now. And I think that's what's holding the growth back for teams to travel
100%.
and play these tournaments, and getting good refs, like we talked about earlier. Like, that's
Right.
one of the big things when you have these tournaments. One of the guys, when I first talked to Houdini, HSA,
Yep.
he said,
Met him.
yeah, I talked to him, and like 2 weeks after I had him on the podcast, this is like months and months ago, he posted a video of one of his guys at an actual, I don't know if it was a CSL tournament. I don't think it was. I don't want to misspeak on that, but it was a tournament play for
Mm-hmm.
points, and it ended up being, it was the last two guys on the field, so it ended up being a 1v1 kind of,
Yeah.
and the guy ran around like you're talking about. He ran around and he shot the guy in the back of the head. Okay, because the
Okay.
guy didn't see him. The ref took him and took 25 points away from HSA's team because of shooting in the back of the head.
That was at
And
our field.
it was on video.
That was our field.
No shit.
It was at our field, and
Okay.
the way. Okay, so here's the refs that we had at that field were brand new.
Okay.
They didn't know the volunteer refs, like we
Yeah.
were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. That
Mhm.
incentive.
Yep.
We don't have refs that. We were lacking the refs that knew what was right 100% of the time and knew it was wrong 100% of the time. That call was a bad call. Now, refs make bad calls all the time, no matter what sport you play.
Sure.
But sometimes stuff like that you're going to see in a sport that we're playing anyways. So the ref that made the call, he works for us now. He learned that it's a normal part of the game. It's not no malicious intent.
Yeah.
You run up around a barrier, we're going to shoot a few
Yeah.
times. No
Right.
matter whatever body part is in front of my barrel,
That's it.
when I'm up, you're getting shot. I'm not wasting any time.
No.
I tell all my boys that. Overshooting counts when that hand goes in the air and you're shooting past.
There you go.
Right? Because that's when it starts to be malicious.
Right.
That's when you're actually intending to cause a little bit of harm to get
Mhm.
in the other team's head, which is not okay.
Right.
I know who did it. I know who the ref was, and I
Mhm.
know the team that he did it on. He had there was no reasoning behind the shot. It was just, he's there. He plays like that anyways. If he gets up on somebody, he's going to take that shot. I play like that in regular games. I play
Right.
that in CQB. If I run around the whole team, if I get a sweep, I'm gonna run up on you, creep up on you, and put one in the back of your head. If you allow
Hmm.
me to do that, you need to get better at the game, rethink your life choices. That's just how I play, you know? But in a
Right.
tournament, like I said, the ref was new to the environment. The ref was new to
Gotcha.
SpeakQB.
Gotcha. Okay.
Volunteer ref,
Right.
afterwards he became
Yeah,
like an
dude.
actual paid ref.
So
And it was a
these
bad call.
tournaments. See, it's a bad call. And Houdini wasn't when I talked to him about it. He wasn't like I mean, time had passed. You know, it
Of
wasn't. He
course.
wasn't pissed. He wasn't pissed. It was. But I was. I made the comment on there like, so in a tournament play like where it's for points, like that really shouldn't happen. Like
It shouldn't.
yeah, the refs need to know. Like if
What's right
you're
and what's wrong.
at least if you don't know, like hey, hang on a second, just pause the game, whatever. Let me go find out. Okay, nope, everything's fine. We're not going to take the points away or whatever, you know, like, so yeah, but definitely that's definitely an issue,
Hmm.
with having well-trained ref. You know, CSL, Keegan, he hosts a ref.
Clinic, I've heard.
Yes.
Like you train the refs
Yep.
to do the right thing. Right.
I really want to talk to somebody that's gone through that training because I want to see, or at least maybe I'll hit Keegan up and see what kind of, if he has any videos of what it's about, you know, how it's run, kind of thing. Because that, if it's set up really well, and people
It
like
should be
yourself who is teaching,
broadcast.
broadcasts everywhere, bro. Like, hey, here's a standard, you know, format that everyone can follow. Here's some real good basics. In fact, speaking of that, you know a lot about it. You're head ref. You teach this, okay? What if if somebody I have another podcast in 25 minutes. So,
Okay.
but I want to get some insight from you because you have a lot of experience and you've got, you know, this field you're teaching at. Um, if somebody is starting out and they like playing, but they wouldn't mind reffing, right, here and there, helping out,
Hmm.
even if it's volunteer or whatever, but they want to learn how to ref. What are some basics? Like
Okay. I actually do this.
where to look, like what to
Right.
look for, kind of shit.
There's a guy that actually plays that just got picked up by DTP John, the head coach for DTP. His name is Kenny. Great guy. He refs for us as a volunteer sometimes. I am up in this ref tower. I'm stationary. Kenny likes to walk around. So I'm like, Kenny, he knows the rules. So that's the first thing. Know the rules of your field. If you don't know the rules, then you can't make any calls.
Now, what's the basic rules
So the basic rules that we're looking for, that
important
Kenny's looking,
ones,
the important ones. I mean, calling your hits, basically.
right?
Just looking for bounces. Sometimes people won't feel it. If he sees a hit, hey, you were hit here, you were hit here. Just go take a respawn. Right? If you get hit, sometimes you won't feel it. So I tell them just be
Right.
nice. Be like, look, you just got hit. I saw you got hit. Just take the respawn. And they'll be like, okay. Second rule is we have little sweep lines because our field, the way our field is designed is there's like choke points on the field to where if one team is around that choke point, then the other team can't advance down the field anymore. So if you find yourself at that choke point, you have to perform the sweep through it. Right? If you perform the sweep, then you're chilling. But if you sit there, we call it like spawn trapping or whatnot. So if you see somebody
Okay.
doing that, just either tell them you nudge them through, or you tell
Hmm.
them to push back and attack from a different area.
Gotcha.
It's nothing. Making sure people are using semi the whole time. Normally, I can hear that, but just if somebody's using full auto and they catch them, if it's an accident, it's an accident. That's when you have to discern whether it is an accident or not an accident. That's just a whole nother ball game, but it's pretty easy to decide when it isn't.
Hmm.
Another thing is just be observant of everything that's going on. Make sure everybody is not blind firing, make sure everybody's shooting the right way, as far as like keeping the gun on their shoulder, or just like not starting arguments. Very basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it is not hard when you know the rules. I only tell him to look for very little things, and since he plays at that field and has the experience, he knows what to look for, and that's what it comes. Just getting a little bit of experience before you dip your hand into the reffing portion
Yeah.
is learning what the games are like, learning what can happen, learning how to deal with that. And one big thing that I almost forgot to mention is that if you don't see something happen, you cannot make the call. If somebody's complaining to you that somebody got hit and you didn't see it, you
Yeah.
can't be like, okay, that guy got hit. That's, I don't know. That's just
Yeah.
not a
So
thing. You shouldn't do
how do you
something like
handle
that.
that? How do you handle that?
This is how I handle that. When somebody comes up to me and be like, this person is not calling their hit, or this person's doing this, this, and that. When I don't see it, I'll be like, okay, point him out at the end of the game. He points him out. I see the guy that they're talking about doing just fine in front of me. They're just doing just fine. The guy they pointed out. Like, okay. I go up to them after the game. But look, I was like, I've been told that you've been doing this, this, and that. Just know I haven't seen it, so I can't make anything. So just know that, I got, another guy walking around here. I'm going to tell him exactly what, he should be looking for at this given time. If you're not calling your hits, he's going to be checking you a little bit. He's going to be following you around a little bit more to make sure you are calling your hits. If you're, starting arguments, like a lot of people will tell people to be like, oh my gosh, I hit you, and like start arguments for some reason. If he's doing that, I say if you're starting an argument with somebody and that person chooses to argue back, you're both going to sit out. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
To make sure that, everybody is, like, I'm just trying to maximize the amount of, like, stuff that shouldn't happen.
Right.
Arguing shouldn't happen. It's a game. We're all out here to have fun. And I tell them, and normally it never happens again. I never hear it about it again. As soon as I tell them that first time, if I don't see it,
Yeah.
it never happens again. Sometimes I'll have to kick people off the field. Shooting before the game starts is one of the biggest rules that I have when I'm on the field. And it's a safety rule because I only have, regular shooting glasses on.
Yeah.
Everybody else has full face, and my teeth are at risk because when I'm up there, I have to protect my voice. I can't do that with a dye mask on.
Gotcha.
So I'm telling you, you go out here, you come up to me if you have to shoot your gun to test fire. If you shoot without my permission, I'm sitting you out. Nobody
Okay.
shoots. If they have to shoot, go in the speaker field. 100% of the time, I tell them, 100% of the time, if you ask me, I will let you do it. If you ask me to shoot,
So what you're saying is, I'm trying to, so what you're saying is when you're out there with both teams or whoever's out there, like on the field, like out of the safety zone, right? Like you're on the field in the playable area, and you're explaining rules and you're talking about, hey, like you're prepping everyone for the game start,
right?
And then people will just like test their gun while they're standing there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people will just shoot randomly, and just like sometimes they'll just like full auto just because they can, like full auto into the corner or whatnot.
You're teaching them trigger discipline and shit. Okay,
exactly,
I got you.
And that's the first. That's the like. I'm just like, that's a great thing. That's it. I tell them, I'm like, trigger discipline, and some people are like, yeah, like some of the more experienced guys are like, yeah, guys, you need to stop doing this. Like it can be dangerous because some people will walk onto our field with no eye pro on.
What?
Just wander around. It only happened a handful of times.
Okay.
Just walk around like, oh, because they don't know a live game going on yet when the game system's not on, when it's not running.
Shit. Okay.
Or like when one of our managers, like Mikey, Chris, or Garrett, have to walk on the field, sometimes they'll forget their glasses when there's no game running on, and they'll have to grab inventory from the back. They don't have to do that anymore, thankfully, because we keep all our inventory in the front of the store now instead of on the field in the little storage unit that we had.
Gotcha.
So now that's not a problem, but the principle still remains the same.
Yeah.
You tell somebody to do it. If they do it, if you see them do it, you get them out of there. But if you don't see them do it, then you can only assume so much. Because when I'm off the field and some people are shooting, I'll go out there and be like, look, who shot? And then somebody raise their hand. It's like, you do that one more time since I'm not out here? Like, well, if they admit it to it, I'm going to kick them out. But if you're not going to admit to it, don't do it again, or I'm going to sit you out.
Yeah.
It's that plain and simple.
Well, those are good tips, man, for somebody that's, well, not just for refs, but for players as well. And then, so what would you recommend for young players or new players that want to, we're talking about earlier, we're talking about this, all these tournaments popping up.
Growth.
There a lot
Good
more
question.
attraction to Speedsoft, right? You're going to get a lot more players.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good recommendation for drills? What can they practice? Guns, starting guns,
Great
gear.
question.
Okay.
Really fast,
Yep.
because you've got a podcast soon. For the people that want to start playing this game and have no sense of direction whatsoever, the first thing you should do is just start talking to people at your local field that you're close with and ask them if they're interested in starting a team. Say you talk to 4 other people. Now you got a 5-man squad that you're all familiar with each other. You like to play the game. After that, don't even worry about a name just yet. What are your play styles like? What do you like to run? Everybody's different as far as their play style goes.
Right.
Some people like to go up real fast. Some people like to take it easy. Some people like to be really smart with it. And you have to develop the stuff that you, like your kit, like your loadouts, based on your own play style.
Mm.
My loadout, I run my Polar Star. I don't have a Euro grip. I don't like the Euro grips whatsoever. I see a lot of Euro grips in this tournament industry right now. A lot of the tournament builds are Euro platform, paintball
Mm.
style grip.
Oh,
You
right,
know,
right.
paintball
Yeah.
style grip. It got the tank to the shoulder.
Yep.
I can't play like that.
Gotcha.
I can't. I can't get a target focus. Like I can't get my
Yeah.
shot is off when I'm doing that. I have to have a
Okay.
traditional stock. I built my Polar Star to how I like to play the game and how
Right.
I'm comfortable. You have to be comfortable on the field at all times.
Yeah.
The more comfortable you are, the less you're worried about being comfortable since you're
Yeah.
comfortable. You built your kit, right? You got a belt, you got some mags, you got a backpack, or you got your Euro grip or whatever. Got some good shoes on. Good shoes are very important when you're playing a game. I have
Gotcha.
to get some new ones. They're too
What what
small on
it's
me.
what's a good recommendation for indoor?
Basketball shoes are great.
Okay.
Basketball shoes or flat foot. I see a lot of people using like Nike Blazers. My Blazers, I really like my Blazers, so I don't play in them at all. Nike Blazers are one. I wore Kobe's for the 5 years I've been playing. Still wear them. They're
Nice.
begging to be retired. But any basketball shoe in general, Vans I've seen work pretty
Yep.
good. Just anything with good ankle support, like high top Vans, not low top Vans. You got no ankle
Gotcha.
support on that
Okay.
because rolling your ankle is a very possible thing to do in
Yep.
this game.
I've heard.
After you've got your kit, your loadout, you're comfortable in the field. Drills, basic drills, target acquisition. As far as you see the barrier. I mean, being able to snap onto your target quickly and accurately. Snapshots in this game are big. The better you can snapshot, the more chances you have at winning the engagement. Movement drills are big. I teach a lot of movement drills, and as a coach, I'm always learning how to coach better.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I was teaching everybody to do what I did and do what I did strictly,
Gotcha.
but do what I do, but change what I do to fit your body type, to
Mm-hmm.
fit like what's more suitable for you
Right.
and what you can do the most smoothly. Break out drills, figure out where each of you want to go on the field, coordination, get your call outs right, assign names to different barriers, try to be original to throw off other people,
Gotcha.
assign just, basic little assignment things. You're going to go here, you're going to do this, you're going to go there, you're going to do that. The job principle, everybody's got a job. If they do the job right, everybody can work as one,
Yeah.
but be together at the same time.
Right.
So little things like that you can look at. And lastly, just chemistry. you got to find a group of guys that you really enjoy playing the game with.
Yeah.
And once you play the game with somebody for a long time, you start to figure out how they play. Because everybody plays a certain way. And once you find out, you figure out however everybody in your team plays, you can basically do stuff together in unison without talking to each other.
Right.
Because that's just the chemistry, the flow of the game, it works. That's what happens on Ned. When I was playing with Ned, our chemistry was like that because we've all known each other for, half a year, almost half a year before, well, not half a year, but like half a decade before even playing together in a team.
Right.
We all know who each other played. We all knew each other outside of the game and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, team
And,
cohesion is important.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's very important. And one thing you do that our team is starting to do is just to hang out outside the sport.
Yep.
If you're old enough, go to the bar. Go bowling, go camping, go fishing.
Yeah.
I like to fish.
Okay.
Go outside. Go do something together.
Yeah, exactly.
Being on a team, like the better teams are more than just a team; they're a family.
Right.
If you want to be a good team in general, you have to be family. You have to consider each other family.
Yep.
And that's
you can't
that's
not
pretty much
talk
the
to
basics.
somebody at all for the whole week and then just see them, and only converse with them or interact with them on Saturdays when you practice. Like that
Exactly.
is not gonna. If you do that, your team is never going to be a real, an actual team. It's only going to be a team in name, that only. It's not going to be, where you guys you have that chemistry and you can just play without. Everyone knows their job and they do their job on the field, and they can adapt to what the other team's doing, without having to talk with each other. And yeah, that's always fun to see too when a team comes together. It's fun to watch.
Oh, it's great. And I want to continue to watch more and more teams form and start to grow with one another.
Yeah.
SPD is one of them. They're still around, and they've been playing kind of since the beginning of when our team started playing.
Gotcha. Well, what's the name of your team now? Your guys.
So our team, we just rebranded from CIA to Obey Airsoft Coalition.
Right.
Our team Instagram handle is obey.airsoft. And we are, getting all of our new stuff, new jerseys. We sent our masks off to Row Customs. We're getting those back probably the end of this week or beginning of next week. Yeah, Row Customs is one of our sponsors.
Oh shit! Shout out Rogue. I had him on the podcast. Man, we had a really good time talking. Yeah.
He's doing all of our masks right now.
Hell yeah!
And they're looking pretty sick. Got a new design, like new teeth design that you can put on your mask called Tampa Hyper Beast.
Oh shit!
New teeth design that we have. Our masks are gonna look pretty sick. I'm pretty excited to see how they're gonna turn out.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. But yeah.
Awesome. And where can people?
I'm excited
find
for
you?
this new season. I'm excited.
Where can people find you at?
People can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Speedsoft Luke. So Speedsoft and then my name, Luke. I made that name in 2014 when I first started YouTube.
Nice.
And I just stuck with it.
Kept it simple.
It just sounded right. Because everybody had like a speed, like at that time it was like Speedsoft something. Then mine was Speedsoft, my name.
Yeah.
And it was great.
You can't go wrong with that. Yeah.
I stuck with it. I can't change it now.
Oh no.
I'm too far in this game to change it.
Right.
And I feel like, I just want to, continue to advocate for the growth of the sport and continue to see it grow and just be there every step of the way.
Awesome, man. Luke, thank you so much, man. It was really fun, really insightful, man. I learned a lot about the Speedsoft stuff.
Glad.
And yeah, dude, I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you for having me on, man. We should do
Absolutely.
this again for real. I had a really good time.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I would love, you guys, especially a lot of the Speedsoft players, I would love to have you guys on, like your whole team, you know?
Yeah, collectively.
Yeah, right. We can have, like our group, the group when we do it monthly, we have 6 people on there. You can have a ton of people on these Discord calls, but
Hmm.
yeah, a team, have a handful of your guys' team or whatever on again in a couple months after you've played some of these tournaments,
NSL. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then we can
dude.
just talk more about them and the experiences that we had during these
Right.
tournaments. What we've
Exactly.
learned, what we know what not to do,
Mm-hmm.
what we've seen,
Yeah.
at these different venues, because we are going to travel up north to Rhode Island. So now we're going to be talking about our
Yeah.
CIA event as well as the Rhode Island event that we're going to in March
Right.
or in April, whenever. Yeah, March. March.
Okay.
That's when
Nice.
it is. Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you. Have a good night.
Well, thank you. You as well.
All right,
Let's
brother.
talk soon.
All right.
Good night.
Bye-bye.